We thought we'd use the Evening With tour to answer some of the most asked questions I get, and some of the most interesting ones. One question, believe it or not, I get asked a lot is, have I ever been drunk on stage? Oh, you've been to some of my concerts. Well, I've been teetotal actually for 15 years, but it is true before that I did like the occasional drink. Have I ever been drunk on stage? Well, if there's any Yes fans, and it was the only way I could play Tales from Topographic Oceans. No, in real truth, I have been drunk once on stage. I'm not proud of it, I'm quite ashamed of it really, but I was in a bad way. Back in 1976, and it was Seattle. Now, normally, I'm very fastidious with my sound checks. I do what I've done today, which is spend an hour and a half going around each keyboard individually, checking everything out, checking all the rack mounts out. I'm very fastidious. This particular day, I arrived down at this wonderful old theatre, the Seattle Theatre, which is 6,000 seats, a beautiful old place. Walked on the stage, and there was my tech, Stu, behind. I said, Stu? He said, yeah. I said, all the lights on? He said, yeah. I said, that'll do, that's fine. And I'm staggering off the stage, and I had this wonderful tour manager called Funky Fat Fred, who's great, Fred. And he came and said, here, Rick. He said, glad I caught you. He said, there's the curator of the theatre wants to have a word with you. I said, oh, not now, Fred, I don't feel very well. He said, no, he said, go on. I said, all right. So this guy came and he said, hi, Rick. He said, I really wanted to meet you, and I love keyboards and various things. He said, I'm thrilled you're playing here. And he said, I wanted to show you something. I said, yeah. He said, do you know, he said, this theatre was built in 1923, and we have one of the oldest Wurlitzer organs here. He said, do you want to see it? I said, well, where is it then? He said, it's under the stage. I said, is it? He said, yeah. I said, is it one of those? He said, yeah. I said, I'll have a look at that then. Yeah, all right. So with me headache, I go straight on. And we had to go off to the side of the stage and down these concrete steps until we were parallel with the side of the stage. And there was this door. It was only about 4 foot off the ground. And you had to open it and literally crawl through this tunnel and come to the middle of the stage, which would be about here, 12 foot down. And there stood this wonderful old Wurlitzer organ. I said, does it go up? He said, look, it works on compressed air. He said, I just don't know what it... He said, I think it might go up once. I said, it's going up tonight. So I came up, head still thumping, called the crew together. I said, now listen, guys, tonight I'm going to come up in that big Wurlitzer organ in the middle of Anne Boleyn. I said, so I want you to fill it full of smoke and dry ice all in the cavern under there and lights so that when it opens, there's all the lights and the smoke and the dry ice, okay? Oh, yeah, all right, then we'll do it. So I get back to the hotel, and they were just in a dreadful state. And I said, oh, come on, guys. Oh, have a drink. Oh, all right. So I joined them, and I'm having a few more drinks. And I said, guess what we're going to do tonight? And they went, what? And I said, listen, when we come to Anne Boleyn, and you know when I do the keyboard solo? They said, yep. I said, you do that rhythm thing that goes jigga, 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 jigga. They went, yep. I said, well, when you're doing that, instead of me doing it on the keyboard, I'm going off stage. And they said, well, where are you going then? I said, I go down these steps. I said, it's brilliant. And I crawl under the stage, and I'm going to come up on this giant Wurlitzer organ, and I'm going to do the solo on that, and then it's going to be smoke and all sorts. It'd be fantastic, and lights. And then I'll finish it off, climb off the organ, and do it on the keyboard, and it'd be brilliant. And you've got to remember, I'm drunk as well, and I'm thinking, all right, okay. One of the things you always do, if you do it a lot, if you've got a lot of the same pieces you're doing on the same shows, you swap pieces around a bit in order to keep them fresh. And I thought, what I'll do, I'll swap a song round. That'll keep it fresh. I mean, it would be fine if they've been sober. So I go and knock on Budgie and Dusty's door, which is a guitar room, and they come out and they're looking dreadful. What is it, Rick? I said, we're not going to start with No Earthly Connection tonight. And they said, what are we going to start with? I said, we'll start with Journey. They said, oh, all right, no, enough they went. Now, everything would have been fine if I'd managed to get to all the other rooms. But I got hoisted away to do a radio interview, which I can't even remember. I slurred my way through it. Oh, it was a great show tonight. And I'm coming back, and I'm passing the drum room, and Tony and Hodgie, the drummers, came out. They said, everything all right, Rick? I said, oh, here, listen, we're changing the opening. And they said, what to? And you've got to bear in mind, I'm drunk, I can't remember. I said, we're not doing an earthly... It's Arthur, doing King Arthur. And they said, you sure? I said, yeah, yes, fine, do Arthur, that'd be a good idea. And we walk on stage. Martin, they've just propped him up, because he's gone completely. And Reg, who's now in charge of the brass section, says to me, what's the opening? I said, well, we're not doing Earthly Connection anymore. He said, are we doing one of the Henrys? I said, yeah, Catherine Parr will do. And I staggered over to the keyboard, and I'm thinking, I can't remember what I've told anybody. Everybody's trying to concentrate real hard. And we used to have this fantastic opening where we used to play the Prokofiev, Romeo and Juliet. And on the last chord, the curtains would open, and we'd all come in. And we did, with 4 different pieces. Now, what normally happens, if somebody's going wrong, it's easy, because what you do, you can just spot that you're the only one that's wrong and you join in with the right piece. But what was happening here was, brass players are going, we're playing Catherine Parr, they're doing Arthur, we better do Arthur. The Arthur people are going, he's still playing No Earthly Connection, we'll do that. No Earthly Connection people, he's doing Journey, so we're doing the Journey. I've got it on tape, 12 and a half minutes this went on for. And then we came to do Anne Boleyn, and I'm thinking, we shouldn't do this. But I've got to go over with it now, because I'm too drunk even to talk to them. It comes to the solo section and it starts digga-digga-jing-ga-jing. So I go, right, yeah, I'll go. So I go staggering off. I go down the steps, right, thinking, no, don't. And I open the door, and when they put all the dry ice and smoke, it's thick fog, right? I can't see anything at all. So what took me 10 seconds before now takes me 2.5 minutes to feel my way through this little tunnel. And all I can hear up above me is jigga-jigga-jing-ga-jing. Right? I finally get to the middle and I sit on this organ. I can't see, it's just a big fog and blur. The lights there are dimming. Great, the lights are working, right? A few notes playing, that's where. Right, button to press it up. I press the button to press it up. I feel all this compressed air start. And it starts to go up and I'm thinking, wow, okay, this is great. And I saw the trap door open and I'm going up and there's all the smoke and the lights and it's fantastic, and it got to the top and it stayed there for, 3 seconds. And then the compressed air went, and then the organ went, and then I went. I made a grab for the side of the stage. The people out front thought I was waving and waved back at me. And I landed in this big heap with all this stuff down the bottom. I'm going, oh no, I've hurt myself, and all I can hear above is jigga, jigga, jigga. Now, the crew are in absolute hysterics, but Funky Fat Fred thinks, oh, crikey, Rick might be hurt. So he goes running on, and he stops quite wisely about 1 metre from the hole. But where all the dry ice had come across, it was now sheet ice, and he slid the last metre. I'm crawling out the wreckage thinking, I'm all right, and 18 stone of Fred lands on top of me. Jigga, 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 jigga. So where Fred hits me, he dislocates my shoulders, and I've got my shoulders out. I've got blood pouring down my face. Now, 8.5 minutes, it's all on tape. Well, actually, all that's on tape is jigga, 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 jigga. So I crawl out of this wreckage, leaving Fred there, and I come out the other side, blood and claret everywhere, and I come back on stage. Of course, I can't play anymore, so it collapses to a heap. We go, good night, thank you very much, and I walk off. The tour manager out there at the time was a guy called Alex Scott. Guy in the dressing room, Alex comes in, he goes potty. So we went back to the hotel, very quietly, all went to bed, got up in the morning, got in the cars and went to the airport. All got on very quietly, drinking our coffee. And we used to always put the paper, the pilot always used to put the paper for us to read with the reviewing on the table then. I'm looking at it, and everybody's looking at it, nobody's going anywhere near it. And Alex gets on, he says, read it. I said, have you read it? He said, no, you read it. Read it out loud. I said, I don't want to. He said, read it out loud. I said, all right. Well, I've actually got that review. I don't normally like Rick Wakeman. But last night's performance at the Seattle Theatre was an eye-opening revelation. The evening opened with a brilliant pastiche of 4 of his most well-known pieces. Intricately woven into a jazz rock fusion that almost defied musical belief. Theatre also played a big part in the evening's revolutionary performance. The death scene in Anne Boleyn was nothing short of spectacular. Do not miss this show. This is 2 pieces from the very first album that I ever recorded for A&M Records, The 6 Wives of Henry VIII. This is Catherine Howard and Catherine of Aragon.